Hello, welcome all. So in this video, we are developing a project named Payment Integration for e-commerce client. So the payment system provider that we are going to use in this project is Stripe Payment Integration. The payment system handles everything related to money movement, as we all know. I chose Stripe in this project from the perspective as it is popular form of payment and also reliable for UK and Europe-based regions. So the complete overview is going to be given in this project about like what the how the workflow is going to be and what needs to be done in the project. Okay, so firstly, I've created a diagram for all of you so that you guys can have a better idea and clarity of it. So let's go on it first. Okay, so this is the complete diagram. So here is a client. Client will contact to the e-commerce website, and the e-commerce website will further contact to the payment system when the user is about to make a payment. And the payment system will further call Stripe API, which will given us the payment webhooks, and it will return back forward as it started. Okay, so the payment validation service will make an API call to payment processing service, and then payment processing service will make an API call to payment this Stripe provider, and then this Stripe provider create API session for this. So this API session is going to give a URL back to the payment processing service, and then this will be returning the responses from the database that it has been created, and then this will be returning to e-commerce, and then it will be returned to client. So the payment validation service contains it basically involves how to validate the payment. So the payment can be validated through the statuses, various statuses that are used in the project, like created, initiated, pending, failure, success, all these. So I'm going to show you about, tell you step-by-step procedure of all the status that could be there. The first status is created. If the request from the payment validation is valid, only then validation service will make an API call to payment processing service. Here it will make the API call. Okay, so that's clear. And the processing service will write the status in DB as created. You see that each microservice, these are nothing but microservices. Each microservice has its own separate database connected with it. This is just another microservice principle, and microservices are nothing but those methods or classes that is coded individually and also can be run and debug and can be run on different ports individually. So they handle their things on their own, and after that these microservices can be combined in order to make a project. Okay, so the created status that we have discussed about. Okay, so if the payment is valid, then the validation service will make an API call to processing service, and the processing service will write in database as created. Another status could be initiated. Now, before we are about to call the Stripe provider after processing the payment, set status to initiated. Our status will be set to initiated before we are calling this service because the procedure has been initiated. Now the pending thing. Now when we get success response from Stripe along with the URL, then the status will become pending as it is not yet reached to the customer. But from the Stripe API perspective, the status has become success. But in our system, the status is pending. So that is why we have named it as pending. Now about the failure case, like when the Stripe system responds with failure, mark it as failed. Like this has a response that it is failed. So like there can be various use cases in this. Like when the Stripe responds with failure, then inform it to e-commerce. E-commerce wants to try again, then it needs to submit another request, and that would be considered as a fully fresh request and with end-to-end process. Another use case could be system timeout. So in our case, we can consider it as failed, since even if you try again, still no problem. We would get another URL with some unique ID after passing the create session API test. Right. Now the last one is success. So for I want to discuss one thing like in the payment thing, as it is one of the crucial aspect. So the final status could either be success or failure. There can be no other thing in between. So these two should be there at the conclusion if we are about to find it. Okay, so in success status, use cases or you can say the business scenario could be when customer makes success payment on Stripe hosted page, it informs us via webhooks or notifications. Then the status is success. And when the payment is when the payment of customer fails on Stripe hosted page, Stripe gives error message on the same hosted page and not redirect customer anywhere else. No action would be taken by the customer. This can be another use case. Okay, so these are some of the things. It will it will all done in the layered format. This is the complete overview structure. We will learn more about the project, seeing its documentation, and learn many things from there. So yes, this is what we are going to do in this video. In my previous video, we get to know how to initialize a Spring Boot project with dependencies, importing it into IDE and write controllers with the endpoints and write logic for the controller, and calling the URLs via Postman and test them. Also learned about get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, and delete mapping. So in this video, we will be going more deeper into the project's aspects, project technical aspects. What else could be there? First, we are going to call a create session, which is nothing but when this is what from here it goes to here create session, and this will returns the URL in the response, and we will get the URL, redirect the customer to that URL. Customer makes the complete successful payment, and look at the final redirection here. Okay, so this will be the overall procedure. Okay, now let's dive deep into the thing here. Okay, okay, so yeah, so let's write the Stripe official documentation docs stripe.com. This is where we go. So you can see, let's click on it. Okay, so this is the Stripe official documentation that we'll be looking forward to. So as you know that we are implementing the checkout feature which is there in the payment. So let's go here, payment. Hmm. So in the payment thing, let's go to the checkout because we are implementing the checkout feature. Checkout feature is nothing but the money involvement that removes from the customer's account and settling into the Stripe account. This is what checkout is. Now let's see the overview. Let's learn more about this checkout. So you can see that it is build a low code payment form and embed it on your site or post it on Stripe. Either you can embed it on your site and or host it on the Stripe. So this checkout is a low code payment integration that creates a customizable form for collecting the payments. You can embed the checkout directly in your website or redirect customer to a Stripe hosted payment page. So rather than embedding the checkout directly in our website, we are redirecting customer to the Stripe hosted page because that will be better. So this is what we are doing, and if we embed it, then it would become very messy for us to handle it. Okay, so let's explore more about Stripe checkout. What else would be there? Hmm. So the Stripe provides two types of payments. It is one-time payments or recurring payments or the subscription payments you can say. So one-time payments are those like suppose you are buying something from the Flipkart or Amazon, like the one-time payment is there. You made the payment and the goods will be delivered to you and then you close. So and your session expires. So this is our one-time payment, and the subscription payment is for a particular period of time. You are buying the subscription from which you can make the payments regular up to a specified period of time. So this is nothing but the checkout thing. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so this is Stripe hosted page and this embedded form. You can see here. So this is what we are going to focus on because we are hosting it on our website. Okay, so now let's see how it actually works. The checkout feature, how it actually works for the payment system. Okay, so let's learn about something more about the Stripe checkout from its official documentation. So the Stripe checkout is a pre-built payment form that allows businesses to securely accept payments online. It is a built-in feature that allows to reduce the development time and all the things you can do here. You can customize checkout and access its additional functionality with the checkout session API. We will discuss about it more about this checkout session API and the checkout lifecycle is there. Stripe hosted. This is another embedded form that I told you about, but this is what we are looking at right now. Stripe hosted page. Okay, so this is just and another details like what to do. Like when the customers are ready to complete their purchase, the application which is nothing but this application, our application that we are building payment system, it basically creates a new checkout session. Okay, so this payment system creates a new checkout session. The checkout session provides the URL, and okay, so the control goes from here to here and it creates with the request of creating API session. The Stripe payment provider says, hey, Stripe API, please create a checkout session for me. Okay, so this will create the checkout session and it will give the URL to the payment processing service. It does not give the checkout session back after receiving it, but it will give the URL to the payment processing service. Okay, and that redirects customer to Stripe hosted payment page, and that URL is going to redirect customer to this Stripe page, which is nothing but notifications. You will see it like after the okay, so customer entered their payment details on the payment page and complete the transaction. Customer enter all their details on the payment page and further complete the transaction, whatever necessary steps were there on the transaction payment. After the transaction, a webhook fulfills the order using the checkout sessions completed event. So events are nothing but there are various events in a project which tells us like how far the work has been done and where it is going. So this and webhook is nothing but this you can see this page that appears. This is called a webhook or notification. And this is a complete cycle they have given. That's so nice. So let's go through it. The client sends the order information to the server, and the server further creates a checkout session to the Stripe API. And now the Stripe API returns the checkout session and redirects the customer to URL from checkout session, and the customer completes its payment via webhook or notification, and then the customer returns to the application. Now the handle fulfillment is being done over here. Hmm. Okay, so yeah, we have seen so much here. Now let's go to the API of it. docs.stripe.com/API. The internet is a bit slow, so never mind. Okay, so this is the API reference for the Stripe integration. So it is written the Stripe API is organized around REST. It is organized around REST. Now, what are REST? REST are nothing but the standards upon which our HTTP protocols are built, such as GET, POST, PUT, delete, and all of that. Now, our API has predictable resource oriented URLs. It accepts the form encoded request and returns the JSON responses. So these are just the request and responses structure. The request could also be sent in JSON, but in this case, they are using form encoded requests. We will see that later when we call the API. Everything we will get to know about it. Now you can use the Stripe API in test mode. Okay, so there is test mode in which we use Stripe API in test mode when because in test mode the real money is not involved. This is for the testing purpose. So developers generally use this test mode for testing their APIs. Okay, which does not affect your live data or interact with the banking networks. Now the API key you use to authenticate the request determines whether the request is live mode or test mode. The API key is nothing but it is used for security purposes for authentication type. Stripe API does not support bulk updates. Okay, that's fine. And the Stripe API differs for every account as we release new versions. Okay, this is nothing but all of that. Now, let's learn about the authentication of it. Stripe authentication. So the Stripe uses API key to authenticate request. Okay, so for the purpose of authenticating the request, the Stripe API use API keys. You can view and manage your API keys in Stripe dashboard. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. Stripe dashboard. Okay, so we can find the Stripe API key in the Stripe dashboard, and it is unique for all of you, for everything, so that it helps in generating the better response. Okay, keep on loading. And the whole documentation, you can go through it all and see if there is anything that excites you about this. There are tons of cases over there. The dashboard is still loading. That's amazing. Okay, so let's see this. You must be seeing this base URL, what is there. So whenever we call an API, we call in Postman, right? So we will also, the base URL that we are going to give to the Postman is this. This would be our base URL. And after this, there will also be some things given after this, whatever is there. So let's is it loaded or not? No, still not. Okay. So firstly, let's test the APIs. Okay, so simply I'm just going to copy. Oh, this has been copied. And okay, so I'll be creating a new one, blank collection. Okay, so this has been created. Hmm, network is really bad today. I mean, like it's not everyone's regular case. Okay, so the collection I'm going to name it as sample because this is for sample purpose. And let's create add some request. Hmm, okay. Okay, so the request is like create station API. This has been done. Okay, so whatever text that we have copied, this is the base URL. This should be given at the base. So we are going to paste it over here. Let's paste it. Okay. Now we have pasted this. Only this much is there first now. After that, we are going to the sessions because we are creating the checkout session. So we will be going to the sessions thing. Okay, so in going to the session, what can we see? A checkout session represents your customer session as they pay for one-time purchase. Okay, pretty much fine, making sense, connecting the dots. Okay, you can create a checkout session on your server and redirect to this URL to being checkout. So these are some URLs in which we can make our payment. Okay, so I clicked on it. I was not supposed to, I guess. So these are the URLs. Okay. So slash v1 checkout and session. So let's type it that way. Okay. So slash v1 slash checkout slash session. Okay. So I think our URL is pretty much complete, and also there is a post request here. So in post request, some data needs to be passed, and then it will be sent to the server. Okay, so let's make it post now. Good. Hmm. Let's again go to the documentation and keeps on seeing things here. Okay, now we need a API key for this. Firstly, let's see this create a session thing. Okay, so what it is saying about it? Create a session, a unique string to reference the checkout session. Okay, so this is our ultimate, the post checkout session code. Okay, so we have done the base URL and this further URL, and the request is post. Now this is what the data is that we need to pass over here. Okay, perfect. So now what needs to be done? The API key will be needs to be given. So for that, let's go to the payment thing that we can here. Okay, so the API key was here somewhere. Okay, let's see this. How checkout works. Uh, it's an overview section, because APIs keys are very much needed for these purposes. Mhm. Find it. How checkout works. Hmm. Create session API. I think it will be there in this. Let's see. No, no, no. This will come to that. The API key is not there. API key is found on the dashboard. Okay, let's go to here. This is where the API keys is. Actually, I've already generated it. API keys in this API thing. Okay, let's see this. I hope now it loads because it's been a long time. I refresh it, or am I making a mistake? Okay, let's refresh. Hmm. So it has come, and you can see that the test mode is on. It's gone again. Bad idea. Hmm. The test mode is on. So this account is in test mode. So it allows to accept the live payments. Okay. So this is the publishable key and this is our secret key that needs to be inserted here and see how it will be inserted. So I'm going to reveal it. Reveal test key. Okay. So this is it. Click to copy. Okay. I have copied it. Now let's go to the postman and in the authorization section, we are going to paste it. Like first select the auth type will be basic auth and in the place of username we are going to provide the key that we have this and enter save it. Okay, so it is now being saved. Let's go to the body now. uh, what we first saw there, that the body will accept in the URL encoded format and the JSON response will be returned, right? So what are we going to do? URL form encoded, form URL encoded. So this will be it. Okay, fine. After that, what needs to be done? Hmm, where is the? I think we have come to the wrong place. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. URL encoded thing is done. Okay, this has been done. Okay, okay, all the things have been taken care of. So let's go to here and here the checkout session. In the checkout session, this is what we need. This is what we need. Okay, so let it be in Perl. Okay, okay. Okay, so let's go to the postman. And I previously defined it. So that will help you. Okay. So what are the things that is over here? Line items, price, data, currency. Okay. So we need to pass on these things into that. So first is line items, price. Okay. Line items, zero price. Here it is defining zero because this is an array. Okay, so let's do it. Line items, zero price. Okay, price sheet and currency. Okay, so let's not write it manually when we can copy paste it. Hmm. So let's copy this and paste it. Hmm. So this will represent the price data and the currency it is in. The currency it is going to define. So the currency, let's say US dollars. Okay, good. And the next thing, let's see here. The next thing is quantity. What would be the quantity? Quantity will be there, mode of payment is there, and URL is there. Like when the user has completed the payment, notification will come. It will be either success or failure. Okay, so that will also be taken care of. Got it. So let's go to there. Line items has been taken care of. Now, another thing would be quantity. So let's copy it from here, copy and paste it here. The quantity I would say 2. Perfect. So, hmm. Mode will be there. Mode is payment. Success URL will be there. Okay, so we can type it manually. And another thing is price data, product data, and name, which is nothing but the name of the product. Okay, so first let's see the mode and success URL here. Okay, so the mode will be payment, and the success URL. Okay, what's the success URL here? It is just a dummy one, I guess. Copy and paste it here. Now about this line items thing, which contains the name of the product. Okay, so copy and paste it. To the product name, you can give anything. I would give. I'm a Samsung fan. That is why Samsung. Samsung forever. Mhm. Okay, so the next thing is unit amount, the cost of this mobile phone per unit. Okay, so here, and the unit cost, I would say let's make it what do we say, 88, and 88,000 would be fine. But that will be generated in US dollar because I have made the currency in USD. Hmm. So should we hit the button? Because we have done almost all the thing, included the API key, and in the body section included all these details, and in the URL, form URL encoded format. Okay, now let's hit the send button. The request is being sent, response is being generated. Yeah, it is successfully come with the ID. This is ID, which is the unique ID for all, and there are various fields that it is giving us, but we don't need all of these fields. We need the URL because we discussed the Stripe will, our payment system will give the create checkout session, and it will give us the URL. So we are looking for that URL, which is here. Okay, so I am going to copy this URL. Okay, URL has been copied and pasted here. Enter. Now let's see what is it appearing. This is nothing but a notification. This is nothing but a notification in here. Okay, so let's type. Okay, I'm giving my mail here and the card information. We could go give any number here, like